What happens when you put an auteur developer behind an ambitious claymation adventure game in the midst of an adventure game market saturation? You get a game that fails to sell well, but establishes a fervid fanbase and a cult appeal for years to come. More specifically, you get the Neverhood, created by Doug TenNapel of Earthworm Jim fame, developed by the Neverhood Inc. and published by DreamWorks Interactive in 1996. Yes, 1996, the middle of the adventure games fallout that laid Grim Fandango to an early grave as well. For what it's worth, Grim Fandango honorably shares the number 23 spot with the Neverhood due to it having the second best atmosphere in any game I've ever played, the single best characters, and a spectacular theme to hold it all together. I love that game. God damn, I love that game. But this is about the Neverhood. It stars Clayman, a recently birthed spawn of the demigod Hoborg. Hoborg was the creator of the Neverhood, a relatively small clay structure in space that is home to himself, in addition to his creations, Clog, the antagonist, Willie Trombone, Clayman's brainless guider, and Big Robot Bill. There are also some nasty little critters all over the place, but they're less important. It's a fairly short game. First time can take up some time, but on a replay it can be done in 3 hours or less. But each frame is expertly crafted so that I can't even imagine how much effort went into making it. New ideas show up in every room that make interesting use of the modeling clay aesthetic. I also liked the touch, no pun intended, that you can see little fingerprints on some of the clay structures. Thematically, the Neverhood is a pretty amateurish creation, so it makes sense that these indentations would show. The whole experience just has a great attitude to it. Clayman is resourceful, curious, and naive. It's impressive that so much of this can be conveyed since he never speaks except for one scene, but the cutscenes and even gameplay elements manage to pull this off. Also, beneath the colorful exterior, there are some pretty disgusting and horrifying things that go on in the Neverhood while Hoborg is predisposed. Little sheep creatures watch you crush one of their friends and then they vomit in disgust. Controlling a big robot, you smash a big bug and splatter Willie in its blood. The violence is always unexpected and grotesque, but it always has a point. However, there are really two big draws for this game. The first is the soundtrack, which may be the best game music I've ever heard. Folk pop songwriter Terry Scott Taylor took the helm of the music with a melodic sort of avant-garde approach. Even if you don't intend to play the game, at least give the soundtrack a listen. Even as a standalone entity, it holds up as good music. Then there's the Hall of Records. Frame after frame of minuscule text that you have to walk through at least twice to get a plot-important item. Just walking through the hall can take minutes. Stopping to enhance the text and read the whole thing, that can take hours. I know because I've done it. And let me tell you, it's worth it. It's like religious text for the Neverhood, with actual analogous allusions to the Bible. Pretty interesting stuff in there. Anyway, this is a clear game that is after my own heart, and seemingly made with my preoccupations in mind. It's a shame that consumers let this one go by, but as with Grim Fandango, such is the case for many excellent games. If you're so driven, there was a PlayStation sequel called Skull Monkeys, though that one's a platformer. I've only played very little of it at a terrible frame rate, so I can't speak much about it, but if you're looking for an awesome experience, the Neverhood is one of the best I can recommend. I give it a 10 out of 10, and the same goes for Grim Fandango. Man, weren't adventure games the best?